Morning, everybody. I'm stuck in traffic, so I'm going to do a quick video. Once again, I haven't been doing any longer videos because I don't have a very long ride to work right now, and that's when I usually do them. But anyways, I was doing a study last night in the Bible, specifically the canon, regarding what I've talked about before is Og of Bashan being in 5 books of the canon and 22 verses of the canon. It's a lot of Bible to be talked about one person who was a giant. And this giant, Og of Bashan, was not only the last of the Rephaites, but he was killed by Moses and the Israelites who came into the land after they escaped from slavery in Egypt. All these things are very important when you're talking about the war in heaven and the war that continued from heaven to earth, and why Adam fell, why we are continuing on in this war, and why it's necessary, why Jesus came in the flesh to defeat Satan and death. And the other word that I was researching was Ashtaroth. Sometimes it's Ashteroth, A-S, but sometimes it's A-S-H, Taroth, Ashtaroth. But the reason I looked that up is because Og of Bashan was from the city of Ashteroth. And Ashtaroth is the Greek goddess of war, fertility, and of the moon. The Israelites were cast out of Israel and into bondage after they took over the land and were, escaped from Egypt, went through all the stuff that they went through the desert, finally conquered the giants, came into the land, and then once they came into the land, they started taking on the practices of the pagan people around them. Why this is relevant is because this all stems from Genesis 6. The giants were the children of the fallen angels. The fallen angels then became worshipped by the giants because they were their parents, so they knew that they came from the angelic realm. So the giants, and this, they talk about this in a lot of the giant books, where they knew, once they were pronounced with the judgment that Enoch gave them, that they were not going to be able to fight against anything that came from the heavenly realm. They knew that their power was only limited to this earth, even though they were giants and they were 1,500 ells tall, which is like Og of Bashan said, he could drink from the clouds at one time. That means that they're like a mile or 2 miles, 3 miles tall at some points. And if you look at Disney cartoons and stuff like that, like from Hercules and stuff, that's how tall they are. They're not just showing you that by chance. It's true that they were that big. And even the different giants that you see that died in the flood, that are laying on the ground or in the sides of mountains or wherever you see them laying as they were dead, you see that this is how big they are. And you're like, how could that even be a real being? It's because they're half fallen angel, half human. The fallen angels transform themselves into human being type creatures, looking creatures that could be the size of us, and then got women pregnant, and then once they got the woman pregnant, the giant baby was so big that it burst through their navel cavity. That's what it says. I'm not making this up. It's in the Bible. There's a lot of things in the Bible that people don't understand what they're reading, and so they just pass by it, not realizing that there's actually more, if not equal amount. I'm pretty, the list that I made last night was pretty extensive, from Joshua, Judges, Kings, all the different books that had Samuel in it. They were worshiping statues of Ashtaroth, not just Moloch, where they sacrificed their babies in the hands of Moloch, which is something that we still do to this day, but they were worshiping statues of the fallen angels. And if you know anything about what I've said in the past about the testament of Job, where Job is tested, which they don't tell you why he was tested. I always wondered that as a child, why was Job tested? Why did Job have to go through this testing? And it was because he decided not to allow a statue of Satan that was possessed by Satan to be on his property. And he was a king, basically, of a giant province, and he lived 3,500 years before Christ came. And so he destroyed the statue, but before he did, an angel came and told him, if you do this, you're going to be tested by the devil. And Job said, fine. And then for 30 years, he was tested both in his flesh. The devil killed his children, took away all his property, took away his homes. Basically, it was just him and his wife, as he sat on this like hill of a dung heap with worms eating all of his flesh off. She went finally and cut her hair to pay for him to have bread for the day. She sold her hair, and then right after that she died. And so you're like, wow, what a cruel thing. But you're not realizing that, like, in the Christian church, they don't tell you this, that the reason all that stuff happened is because Job agreed to it, because he was trying to go against the devil, and he was having a human versus Satan contest. And this is something that also Jesus did with his 40 days in the wilderness and things like that. And the reason that God doesn't want you to obviously bow down to what they call the Queen of Heaven, this is Ashtaroth, this is a statue of Mary. They took the old statue of Mary and they put it in like a Play-Doh mold, like, so that now, like, you think it's a statue of Mary, but it's really the old statue of Ashteroth. They just change it, and it doesn't matter what statue it is or what images you see, a statue of Jesus or Joseph or any of these. We're not supposed to make statues. We're not supposed to make graven images or bow down to them in any way, shape, or form. And that is because demons can go into these statues. And like I said before, they possess the McDonald's toys in the same way. McDonald's is evil. They put human body parts and dead things and all sorts of stuff in McDonald's food. If you saw the way they made chicken McNuggets alone, that should make you not want to eat that stuff. But people still eat it. It's not food. It's not going to make you feel good. It's not honoring the temple that God created for your soul and your spirit to live in. And although this flesh dies, you're going to live on forever, whether you like it or not. And I'm in traffic. I'm parked in front of a license plate that says Jesus, I trust in you on it, with a picture of like Jesus' eyes, like at the top of the license plate. Like I said, it happens all the time. But I just want people to understand that if you just look up these two things, it explains a lot of the Bible. Og of Bashan and Ashtaroth. Ashtaroth is a city named after the fallen angel, and then the Israelites created these pagan statues. And what's incredible is that Solomon was given the power, and that's the one thing I'm really surprised at more than I can understand the common people taking over practices and it slowly creeping in and things like that. But the king of Israel himself, David's own son, which was the union where he killed his best friend, or killed one of his soldiers or whatever, killed a colleague, a friend, or whatever you want to call him, and put him on the battlefront so he could steal his wife, which is scummy. And the baby died from that union. But then right after that, the next child that they had was Solomon. So you see the kind of thing that comes from an evil union is always like another evil thing. And although Solomon in a childlike age decided to ask God for wisdom, and he was given the Holy Spirit, by seeking after human women and lusting after human women, he lusted after every nation that God said do not partner with their women. Do not go and be a family unit with these women. And yet he did so, and he had 1,000 wives and 300 concubines, and that's a lot of women to manipulate your senses. And so although in the Testament of Solomon Solomon is given a ring by God, the Pentaphel ring, to go and call demons forth from the ocean, because that's where they live, not outer space or in the ground or anywhere else. They live in the ocean. That's where the demonic kingdom is. Although he had that power to call forth the demons, and he saw the demons, and he put the demons to work building the temple and crushing rock and cutting rock to build the temple, which is now where they have the Wailing Wall and all that. Although that is all these insane things that Solomon saw, and the different demons in great number coming forth and telling him that I'm the, they're saying, these demons are saying, I'm the one that causes children to go blind in the womb. I'm the one that causes them to get headaches. I'm the one that causes men to get headaches. I'm the one that causes men's teeth to fall out. I'm the one that does this and that and this. Even though he saw and heard these demons say all that stuff, he still created statues and groves and built statues of these demons for people to worship at. And then he himself went and crushed a grasshopper on a door handle, showing that he would have gone and worshipped before the statues. And who knows what he did. And he did do stuff like magic and stuff, like wrote books about magic based on demonology and things like that, which is what King James wrote before he wrote the King James Bible. He wrote the book on demonology, which he got from Solomon. And that's why I try to tell people, whenever I look up something on like Bible Hub or something like that, I look up the info in the King James Bible, because in my opinion it's less manipulated than the NIV and all these other books and stuff like that. But when they tell you in the canon that Adam, his child, is Cain, it's not true. So they have changed the Bible in that sense. From the very beginning, they've changed the Bible in Genesis. So we need to be vigilant in understanding what they have changed and why they've changed it. And I said before, the Palestinian Aramaic Targums are the ones that is the book, that the version that tells you that Eve desired the angel Samael. And much more important than any war that America might have with Russia, much more important than any human versus human war, is the spiritual war that we fight every day that we can't see. And it involves your soul and your spirit, which is going to live forever. Your human body is not going to live forever. And intertwined within both of those, the human war and the spiritual war, is protection by God, or your lack thereof. Because if you're not living for Christ and you're not praying for protection, you're not like living like you should be living, then you're susceptible. Your health, your body, your spirit, your mind, and your soul are susceptible to being attacked at any time. And trust me, there are people out there that get a lot of pleasure, a lot of like power from the devil by attacking Christians on a daily basis. And there are unfortunately not a lot of people that are actually living for Christ. So if you are living for Christ and you're trying and it's hard, that's a good thing. That is a very good thing that you notice that it's hard. If it's easy and you're like, I don't feel like I'm growing, then you probably aren't being fed the meat of the word. You probably feel like you're capped out because you don't understand the fullness of God and the power that he has and the power of his word and the weapons that he has to fight against these evil things that have been set up, most of which are deception and lies. And if you are in a Christian church that is not teaching you that Enoch is the word of God, then you're in a church that's teaching you a denominational understanding, which is wrong, which is not true. It's not a true thing. You need to listen to what Peter and Jude said and understand that Enoch, seventh from Adam, was a prophet. And if he is a prophet, then you should be listening to what he prophesied, which was that the Son of Man would come, which is Jesus. He did come. He saved all the saints from Adam to the thief on the cross. And all of those saints from Adam to the thief were taken out of the underworld and brought back up to the surface with Jesus when he resurrected, which is why the Jews and the Romans had to pay off everybody so that they would shut up and not tell anyone what they saw, which was that Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Job, all these people are walking around Israel right after the Passover. And that is the first resurrection of the dead. And people right now are teaching a denominational thing about how we're going to be raptured out of here, which is not what the Bible says. We have to endure until the end. And for some people, the end has already come. The Chinese people and the Muslims and all these other people, I'm not saying that Muslims went to heaven if they didn't believe Jesus is the Son of God. I'm saying that for certain people, they're dead because of persecution. Just religious persecution, not even persecution against Christians alone. Some people are already dead because they were persecuted for their beliefs. And for them, Armageddon has already come. Their apocalypse, their time of testing has already come, and it's over. And God said, don't fear that stuff. Fear the one that can kill your soul and send it into hell. And I just said that to a guy I work with the other day who recently almost died from getting sick. And I've been preaching to him for like 2 years, and he's starting to actually listen because he knows that there's something has changed in people. Something has changed in people, and they're not the same as they used to be. They're not acting the same. There's a sickness in this world, and it's sin. It's the devil, and his power is growing so that you'll see how dark and evil he really is. And then those people that understand that it's darkness and not this false light, they're hopefully going to come back to Christ and change before it's too late. So I hope if you have a chance, I'm going to show the verses later. I have them written down, but if you have a chance and you don't want to wait for that, you can go on your own and look up how many verses talk about Og of Bashan, how many verses talk about Ashtaroth. And these are the reasons that the Israelites were cast out of their own land. And the ones that are in the land right now are not the true Israelites. They are not God's chosen people. They are spoken of in Revelation 2:9 and 3:9 as the synagogue of Satan. Those who say they are Jews and are not. They're not even Jews. They're not the people. They're the ones that Joshua led into the land by mistake. The Khazars, the people that are not who they said that they were. And then Joshua said to them after they found out they were neighbors and not people from far off, like they said, why did you lie to us? We heard what you did to Og of Bashan and Sihon and all these other kings, and we didn't want to get murdered like them, so we didn't do it. Why would God allow people of his own tribes, his own people, to murder women, children, and donkeys and animals? Why would God allow that? Because they were corrupted. These people, they worshipped the fallen angels and their DNA was corrupted. That's why God said, wipe all of them out and do not let one of them stand. It's a war against the bloodlines. And God knew that if you left all of those tribes alive, they would influence Israel. And they murdered all those other ones and left a few alive, and they still took the statues and set them up in groves and worshipped false gods. So imagine how much more there would have been, and perhaps no escape, if they had left them all alive, all the women and children alive. Then all the other humans would have had sex with those people and created more tribes that were even like maybe half the stature, but still fallen angel DNA. And look at where we are today. They've taken over the United Nations. They've taken over the presidencies. They've taken over everything. And so it's going to be like a war, like the Maccabean Wars, where there's 50 dudes that are righteous against armies and armies and armies of people. And God said in Joshua, do not fear these things. This is my war. This isn't your war. You are just a vessel in my hand. And that's what we're up against right now. And if you don't think that and you don't believe that, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. If you think that we're going to go twinkle, twinkle out, and there's not, so like, if you think we're all leaving, who's going to be here? You think that God is going to leave the hard work, the wisdom work, the choice work that needs to be done, the workers in the field? You think he's going to take all the workers out of the field before the crop has even been taken? That makes no sense. He didn't do it in the old times. He didn't take all the people out of the stadiums that they're getting eaten by lions and stuff. No, he left them in there and they died. And that's what your whole purpose is to die. That's the whole point. Is to show God that you actually care about him enough to give your whole life for him. But people don't care about that. They want to spare their life. They want to secure their life. They want to live and be fine in this paradise that you didn't earn yet. And Jesus earned it on the cross. But if you want to side with Jesus, then you have to be willing to die like he did and like be persecuted like he did. And if you're not willing to do that, then what does he want you for? You see what I'm saying? And you can say, bring up all these verses against what I just said, but there's other verses that prove what I just said. We're not supposed to be timid and we're not supposed to be weak. We're supposed to be the strong ones who have been beaten down, who have been put through it, so that we know what it feels like and we're stronger from it, because it's going to be worse this time around coming up. There is not going to be any Make America Great Again. There isn't going to be that. They're already deploying National Guard troops in every major city. This is just the beginning. The stormtroopers are coming, trust me. And they're going to come in your house and they're going to take whatever they want because Trump is a Jew. He's not even a Christian. He said he's a Christian. He's not. He's a practicing supposed Jew. However they practice, which is probably evil stuff, which is like the Noahide laws and all that crap I don't even get into, but it's true, it's coming. They're going to tell you can't do certain things that Christians do on purpose so they can persecute you and send you to prison. They're already deporting people just for their nationality. You don't think they're going to come for you because of your religion? Of course they are. This is just the beginning so that they can crush your rights. This is all it is. And I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I could care less about all that stuff. But I don't think they're treating people kindly right now. Construction workers that have been here for a long time and they just happen to not have papers. A lot of people that have come into the country lost their visas or lost their papers, or they had to go through some crap, because everyone does when they're poor. And you think Trump cares because he's golfing all the time? You think he cares about your life? He doesn't give a crap about you. He doesn't even give a crap about himself, because if he did, he'd repent and ask Jesus to forgive him, but he won't. So he's going to hell forever. Because he's a demon inside of a human body. All these people are. They're all... Why do you think he's trying to protect Ghislaine Maxwell so much? Why do you think he's trying to hide the list so much? Because then you find out that he's not who you think he is. It's a sham. He's a puppet put up as a fence to protect the Antichrist Obama. And you don't have to believe that I'm saying what I'm saying at all. I'm just telling you that... And believe me when I say that I'm not trying to be right. But I've said things in the past couple of years that now people come up to me and say, wow, bro, how'd you know that? Wow, bro, how'd you know that? It's in the Bible, bro. It's in the books they took out of the Bible. You just got to read the books. It's all in the books. And you don't have to be that smart to realize that Trump is a liar. And he doesn't care anything about people. He hates people. Obviously. He's a scummy rich person. He doesn't care. He loves money. He's got golden statues of Apollo, which is the Satan, in his apartment. He's not a Christian. If you're a Christian, read the Ten Commandments. No idols. Don't bow down to him. Oh, guess what he has in his house? Idols of Apollyon. What? He's not a Christian? You can't make this up. Anyways, God bless you guys. Hope you have a great day. I don't say that lightly. I just say it quick at the end because I have to go. And I have to go work to make a living, and God bless you. Hope you have a fantastic day, and take care.